Welcome back to Dubbzi Bricks for another episode of Building Gotham City in Lego. In the last update we worked on the Rockwork for Arkham Asylum, and we also amended this section here and got it all ready for the roads and Ace Chemicals. Now I need to work out how I'm going to have the road going up to the car park at the front. There isn't that much room here. I want to make this area here as large as possible for Ace Chemicals, and at the moment I've got a 2-lane wide road going into the car park area, which is going to be underneath Arkham. So that's where the inmates are going to be dropped off. However, this doesn't need to be 2 lanes wide, and also I've made this road narrow. It's 16 studs as opposed to 18 everywhere else around the city. I thought it was just probably better to do it that way. And what I'm thinking about doing, narrow this to 1 lane here, so it goes along there to the archway. So I'll move the archway over by a couple of studs, and then next to it we'll have another single lane which will go up to the top of the Rockwork just there. So I might put some traffic lights to be signal controlled so that you don't have a problem with cars having a head-on collision. So that's just what I'm going to try and work out to start with. It'd be quite nice to have the road curving around a little bit, but yeah, I just need to fathom out the best way about doing so. Also want to work on the subway here, lose those stairs, change that below, and possibly get the lights put into this section as well. So yeah, plenty to do, all ready for the revised Ace Chemicals. And that's the stairs all removed, and I put a new wall in to block off where the stairs used to be. And as you can see, there's a Technic brick just at the top there, and that's so I can feed a light through from the back. Now this section I've cleared out ready for a battery box. There's a hole in the back of the wall there for me to feed the wires through to the light, and then there's another hole there so I can then put some lights down there which will then light up this subway section as well. So that's all worked out really well. Now Game of Bricks, they've kindly sent me through some more lights so I can do this section here. So massive thank you to Game of Bricks. I'll leave a link to their website in the description, and I'd highly recommend checking them out. And if you use the code Dubbzi, you will get 25% off of your order. And I have personally found the product to be absolutely fantastic. The lights clip together so well, and yeah, couldn't be happier with the product. So again, thank you very much, Game of Bricks. Anyway, let's start putting the lights into this section and see how it looks once it's all lit up. And that's the subway all lit up. So I've just got 1 light in this section just here and 2 in the ceiling. I think it's a perfect amount of light. So now we've got that all done, I can now finish placing off the top. And a slight change in plans with the battery box area here. Originally I was going to have a plate section which was just resting on tiles, and then the road on top of that. And I thought there's no necessity to have the plates over the top. It's not going to be a massive gap here. I can just rest the snot brick road across the top of the battery box. So that's what I'm going to do. Now the next thing we're going to turn our attention to is the archway here. Just going to move that over. I'm going to make the road 8 studs wide. I think that's going to be the perfect width for it. So I'm going to move that curb over by 1 brick, and then the archway will start and comb down over there. Then that way I can have the road that leads up to the car park to the side of it. And it's all changed. I decided to put the road up to Arkham Asylum on the right hand side, and the entrance for the inmates when they're being dropped off to the left there. So I feel that this is going to work a lot better this way round. What I'm going to do now is finally get the road actually mapped out on the bottom here, and then once I've done that I will start building the brick road to give me a better idea of how it's going to look. And here is the first attempt at the road markings, and really happy of how they're coming together. Still some bits I am going to tweak and amend. I don't like the way this line comes over the edge of this part just here. So I'm going to have a look to see if there's a way I can get around that. I have got one idea which I think might work, but yeah, we'll just hold fire until we know for sure that it will work. Now, again, that yellow line, I want to move that down so it's level with the white line there. That's another thing I think would look better if it was amended. I was really happy with how this part come out. Now this is probably, well, almost certainly a legal building technique. None of those studs are connected, with the exception of the two end white plates are attached to the cheese wedges, but everything is just resting in the gap there. So it's all squashed together quite nicely, but yeah, really pleased with how it's coming on. So with the parking area here, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with this just yet. I want to put a lot more markings in there, but I think I'll wait until I've got Ace Chemicals in here, just in case I can extend it or I need to reduce it, save me redoing all of that. But yeah, what a difference it makes having some road markings down here. This section here, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing in there. I was wondering whether to put a square with the cross lines in there, so I'm not sure what the correct road markings would be for a section like that. Obviously, the road comes here, and cars from here are going to go to the docks. They're going to go into Arkham Asylum on the lower section just there, or they're going to be going up to Arkham Asylum. Cars coming down here, again, they're either going to go across to this section here, or down to the docks as well. But yeah, we'll try and think of something to go there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move the two buildings off the top of the Rockwork just there, and I'm going to start plating off the top section for where Arkham Asylum is going to sit. And I always like it when you get to the stage where you're putting the plate down above the filler brick. Okay, this isn't the finished look, but it's nice, satisfying feeling getting to that. I did need to adjust the support pillars below there. I had it that there was an 8 stud gap in between each row. However, I didn't have any plates that could span across it. So I've closed it up to 6 studs, and I've used my 2x8 plates. That's nice and sturdy there. It's not really going to need that much strength because it's only going to have a road rest on, or a car park resting on top of it. But it's nice to know that there is the support throughout the whole structure here for Arkham Asylum. What I will be doing is putting some dark bluish grey wedge plates all the way along the edge for a finishing touch. We'll have a grey brick wall all the way around the edge, and then the car park will sit within it. But the thing we need to work on next are the lights, and I've got these dark green lights here from Game of Bricks, and I do think they look absolutely fantastic. So looking forward to adding those to the build. And the plan is I'm going to have one on the corner just there, one in the centre, and then one just there. So I need to make sure I get all the wiring sorted out, as it would be nice to have this entire part of the city all running off of one battery box. Now we made a fair bit of progress here. So we've got the lights all in place, and they're all connected wires, go underneath, and then they come through this Technic brick here. I put them through the Technic brick just purely so I don't lose it. And I've put a connector board on the end again so the wire can't go back through the hole there. I want to get the car park all sorted out, so I want to get the lines into the tarmac, etc. And I was there thinking I need to have the road that comes across here. I need to get the road connected to the ramp that leads in and out of Arkham. So I thought I might as well make a start on this section here. So this is where the inmates will be dropped off. So I've done all the rockwork there ready. I was going to put the roof on so I could actually do the whole road. However, I think it's going to be a lot easier to build if I've got all the details in here before I start putting the roof on. So I'm going to hold fire. We're doing the road all the way across to the car park. But what I will do is I will plate this section off just here, I think, so it's all ready. And yeah, we'll get the car park itself all sorted. So let's turn our attentions to that part next. I'm really loving how this part of the city's coming along. Still so much detail that needs to go into it, but it's just nice to have things like the roads down, the wall along the top of the rockwork, and the lamps up there as well. Now with the car park area, I have managed to get a lot of details added to that. I do want to carry on working on it, as there are some lines on here which I'm not 100% happy with. I've tried to get the corners as best I can around here. I just couldn't work this one out over here, so I've just left that plain for the time being. But anyway, let's turn the lights out in the room and see what these look like when they're all lit up. And I'm absolutely loving the lights on here. They're showing us a lot brighter on the screen than what they are in real life. So I'm going to have to try and work out how to adjust that on my phone here, because that's what I'm using for recording. But there's just enough light shining up on Arkham Asylum there. So we're going to have a few more lights put around this to help light it up, including some actually inside the asylum itself. And one thing I'm really looking forward to with the lights in Gotham City, our Game of Bricks are now doing a light system where you can have several floors connected and you don't have to have them all plugged in. So as long as the two connection points are resting on top of each other, then the electricity goes through and then the lights all work out. So that's an absolute massive game changer for this. With some of the previous builds I've done, I've had so much trouble threading the wires through the build, whereas now I can just put all the wires on one floor. As soon as you rest the next floor, it connects the lights up. So that's going to be absolutely brilliant. So I'm really looking forward to putting those into this building. So yeah, happy days. But these lamps, so impressed with those, and it'll be nice if I can kit the entire city out with those ones. So they come in 3 different colours. I think it's the dark green, the black and the white. So I'll be using just black or the dark green. I don't think white's going to look that good in Gotham City. But yeah, really happy with the progress we've managed to get done in this update. And hopefully in the next update we'll make a start on working on the room just there. Then that way we can continue the road round to the car park and then also make a start on the lower sections of Arkham Asylum. So hopefully that's what we'll be able to work on. But what we're going to need to do first of all is find out a load of bricks. And I'd just like to welcome Ryan Ills and Taylor from Pollock Productions to the memberships. Thank you very much, guys, for joining the Dubbzi Bricks members. The memberships have gone live, went live about 2 weeks ago now. So all of the subscriptions really does help with the builds of the mocks I do. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate you guys for joining the memberships. Anyway, hope everybody's enjoyed the video. If you have, please remember to give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think would be interested in building Gotham City in Lego, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for walking on by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.